Oh, and welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here. So today we're going to talk about feeling tired, a very common thing I am hearing. I've heard it from myself years ago and many clients. This tends to be one of the first signs of midlife, hormonal changes. And then when we, again, toss in diabetes, it gets even more complicated. And of course, it gets a lot more important because we need to feel good to manage this disease, don't we? So there's not much that we can really compromise when it comes to sleep. And sleep can be challenging for all women. But like I said, with diabetes, it adds just fuel to the fire, doesn't it? So, and I'm going to start by reflecting on my own time. I remember a morning when I woke up feeling, or many mornings when I woke up feeling like I hadn't slept at all. My blood sugars had been swinging all night. The to-do list was endless. I was in my early 40s, newly divorced, living alone with my daughter, and honestly, I just felt done. But I still had to show up for, again, my job. I was working a corporate job at that time, traveling up to an hour to and from work every day. So managing that, raising my daughter, and life, it just felt overwhelming. Again, I was in my early to mid 40s at this point. And I just kept pushing through, right? Because I had things to do. And guess what? I still had diabetes to manage on top of all this. It's amazing what we can do when we have to. And we get used to feeling a certain way, don't we? Or even feeling like we're compromising by how we feel because it gets to where we just get used to how we feel. So we don't necessarily look close enough at it or challenge it or find ways to, make it better and easier. And in this case, we're talking about our sleep. So the turning point came with me. The realization, exhaustion, it wasn't just diabetes. It was the mix of the blood sugar swings, the shifting hormones, the chronic stress, and I was really neglecting really my self-care, real self-care. I also recognized that I needed spiritual grounding. Again, I was newly divorced, feeling very much alone, very isolated. I was not plugged into a diabetes community at all back in those days. Again, this was just 14, 15 years ago. So much has changed since then. So what I did was I started visiting churches and eventually found one where I've now been a member for 14 years. This was life-changing. Again, it was a community. It was being part of something and building a relationship with Christ within a community I love, and it strengthened me. And it's where I met my husband. This church is now our shared family. And it's our steady foundation. And every day I lean on that foundation to balance both my marriage, motherhood. My daughter's now grown and gone. But as we know, motherhood does not end. It transitions into a different stage. And of course, my work, which is now again transitioned into my own business as a health coach and as a mentor right here in the community of women with diabetes. And something as simple and vital as a good night's sleep, that's the glue holding it all together. And again, that may sound silly, but without that rest and repair overnight, nothing is going to work as well the following day, the following weeks, and it can add up and it can lead to a lot of other health conditions. So remember too, there's no judgment in this. So if you're feeling tired and there's symptoms that are pushing you, and maybe you're telling yourself, I'm lazy, everything's falling apart. Well, let me just say, it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're falling apart. It's your body asking for help. And this is why we're here today to talk about what is happening, why your energy is shifting after the age of 40, and you also have type 1, right? So let's forget that, or let's not forget that. The diabetes is still in that mix, and it is still a big part of what you are trying to manage every day. So let's look at why this is happening. So what's happening after the age of 40? Hormones, right? We talk about estrogen. So our estrogen is tanking. It is slowly falling. And this worsens our insulin resistance. So we get more, it's more challenging to manage the blood sugar. So, and that is impacting our sleep, and that is impacting our body's ability to heal and to feel energized the next day. And in our overall recovery, again, not just as busy women, but busy women managing a chronic disease. So again, sleep is a non-negotiable, right? Another thing that's happening is the blood sugar swings. So the exhaustion from highs and lows, and sometimes this can happen in the middle of the night, right? So we're waking up with this, or maybe we're waking up with night sweats, hot flashes. Overnight it's something we might call a night sweat because we're waking up warm, or we're having to go to the bathroom. So the bladder is talking to us. So, this is a question that gets, that we talk a lot about inside my group coaching is it the bladder waking us up? Is it the night sweats that are waking us up? Is it the hormones that are really waking us up? And inevitably, it really is the hormones. It is that shift, that restlessness as we're trying to sleep. And of course, that's waking us up. We're realizing our bladder is full. We're feeling warm. So that's another caveat that's kind of coming with it. And whether or not that warmth while we're sleeping, that sweatiness, whether that's hormone related or blood sugar related, because we know that can have the same type of feeling and our response can be the same. Again, thank goodness for CGMs. If you are wearing one, a continuous glucose monitor, and we can get that data, that instant feedback as to what it could be that you're experiencing at 2 and 3 in the morning. But needless to say, we're still waking up. And that's the frustrating part of it. So this is a big part of what I talk about and what I coach, and just a realization of how hormones are really impacting you, your sleep, and your ability to stay asleep. And we talk about this inside of our group coaching circle as well, type 1 and midlife. So I'll be sharing more information about that here in just a minute. So what else is happening after the age of 40? Well, stress loads, right? I was talking to you about all the different stages, or I should say life changes that was going on in my life. I had a marriage that was 16 years and it just crumbled after many years. And that was a huge transition, not only for myself, for obviously my husband at the time, our daughter, that is, she did well with all of it overall. We put her first and we prioritized her well-being and her needs. And that sure made that life-changing process of separating a family a whole lot easier, as good as it could have been, right? So that's stress, right? Those changes, those life-changing. So maybe it's your kids growing older. Maybe it's kids leaving the nest. Maybe it's grandchildren coming into your life. Maybe it's work changes. Maybe it's aging parents, right? Lots of different things happening to us starting at the age of 40. And it just seems to compound and different things are happening. Different stresses are going to be part of aging. And the decades of managing diabetes, plus these midlife transitions, they can wear down our nervous system. It really can. And again, if we don't take a step back and recognizing what's happening, how we're feeling, talking to help and seeking guidance on this, it really can be a vicious, never-ending cycle. So that is one of the things that I really want us to be aware of, and finding a way to just balance. I know we say the word balance a lot, but it really is about understanding what's important, how you can delegate things, how you can ask for help, how you can say no more, right? All those things. And that does, over time, help you and help the situation and obviously make you feel more recovered and more, it's easier to fall asleep, right? When all those things are all those boxes are checked and you do have that support in your life. So just as a reminder, you are carrying more than most people realize. No wonder you're tired, right? So you've got this disease that doesn't take a day off. You've got all these other variables in life that just seem to be coming at you at all directions. You feel like you're upside down some days. I've been there too. And guess what? I'm still there some days, because there are no peaceful or perfect days. I think that's part of life, is that we are promised to get challenges. We are promised to be tested. And it's really up to us to have that foundation of our health and our support system